Infinijump. Okay, so yeah, you do have to get to the destroyed city, at least it seems, to make it to the Megabeast. But if you're willing to backtrack or, you know, die and have a safe respawn earlier on, you don't actually have to go through the entirety of the city. You can take the back entrance and just fight the boss quickly. That's actually pretty cool. I will be exploring it thoroughly, however, just to see any differences. And also to, pick up as many upgrades as possible, because, I don't know if there are any health upgrades left, but I certainly could use them. Of course, the longer I stay here, the more likely I am to incur damage, which is rather unfortunate. Can't be avoided, though. Oh, okay, I am very glad I decided to explore thoroughly. It's another save room. I might as well use that now, since if I die at any point, my run is over. But hopefully I can manage to keep this until I get to the Megabeast. Having 2 attempts would be very, very welcome. Oh, Spanus time. I think it's the first time I've seen one of these boys in the destroyed city. And it seems there's a reason for that. They weren't leveled up from their variant in the factory. Well, I'm not complaining about having an easy fight. Just gives me an easier time. Yeah, I'm gonna kill these. I like these splitting enemies. They seem like they have a higher chance of dropping more pickups, which means a higher chance of picking up more tech scrap, which I could always use. Don't think I don't see you there. You're so obvious with your electric flashes. Oh, my shots are bouncing off of something. There's that something. I think they're doing damage though? Yeah, that must be because of the aura that they have. So that is one use of the upgrade. Where the hell could this item be? It would have to be on the floor, wouldn't it? Unless they expect me to pick up the Infinijump. Okay, it was on the floor. Health upgrade, good to have. And it looks like I'm about to make it back to where I died previously in the city. So that's good. From there, it should actually be a pretty short path back to the factory, which means I can pick up those last 2 rooms up there. Oh yeah, and confirmation that there is indeed a Spanus at the bottom of this room. I had that query before, but I wasn't sure if there was, since I had managed to kill it before actually proceeding down to the bottom. Yeah, I really don't mind the Spanuses in the destroyed city, because at this point I'm strong enough to be able to deal with them rather easily. It was encountering them early on in the factory that I had so much trouble with. At that point, I definitely did not have the upgrades to deal with them easily, and so they were quite a pain. There's a reason they ended that earlier run. Alright, there's my first optional item, Invincibility. No reason not to have that on me. I'm not sure if I really do want to use it though, because it does use the same energy source as my sub-weapon, which admittedly I haven't been making great use of. At this point, my regular shot is strong enough that I kinda just want to stick with that, because then I don't have to worry about suddenly running out of shots because I've wasted all my energy. It's nice just being able to spam without a care. But still, I am worried about using too many things that consume the same ammo source, and that's screwing me over at the worst possible point. Still, temporary invincibility could come in handy. I wonder, is the flamethrower more effective against these boys? It very much is, okay. So that's how you're normally supposed to deal with the armored enemies. And, hold on, was that the tech scrap I was looking for? It was. Fantastic. I can finally make full use of the merchant services. Okay, well, here I am. Haven't done my backtracking. So presumably this is gonna be another one of those alternate use items. Oh no, it's an extra weapon. Laser beam. What are you about, my friend? Okay. So, I think I found a weapon that's good at dealing with crowds, even more so than the flamethrower. I feel like the flamethrower is probably higher powered and better at striking all sorts of targets, since it's not hindered by armor or anything. But the laser has the range going for it. Okay, it also seems to be very strong. Let's test this out for a while. These are slightly weaker enemies, of course, but... Hold on, this thing feels too strong. I just realized why. I think its shots are limited. It uses a separate meter from my regular yellow energy meter. It has its own green meter, which I don't think regenerates at all. I'm just gonna wait here to see if any new pips appear. Okay, it does regenerate, but it has its own separate meter. I'm guessing it probably regenerates a bit slower, or you don't benefit from the yellow energy pickups. So you have to rely purely on the passive regeneration, which means effectively you have less use of it than your other alternate weapons. That's why it's so strong. Okay, that makes sense. So they have made the decision to have different meters. I do wish the toggleable items then had meters of their own, but alas. Okay, so I can finally pick up this thing, whatever it is. Come on, health regeneration. Come on, health regeneration. Health orb. Spawns health when enemies are near. Okay. Considering how the Megabeast was just one whole swarm of infinitely spawning enemies, and one of my main difficulties with it was a lack of health drops, this seems like an excellent thing to pick up. Okay, back here. Didn't take too long, thankfully. Still though, I do feel that this game could do to have some teleporters in key places. Not allowing you to teleport to any old random room, that way you are still locked into an area until you pick up the necessary upgrades to get back out. But maybe in just specific spots to still allow for that, while also giving the player a faster ability to travel when backtracking. Then again, it may have been a conscious design decision to make that a bit of a pain. For picking up more power, you basically have to waste time. There's a reason that there is a timer from default after all. A self-inflicted challenge going on in this game. That's actually a really good not introduction. A really good feature to have, because one of the big replayability factors in a Metroidvania is being able to complete it faster and faster as you know the routes better, and as you just get better at the game in general. Oh god, that did not go nearly as well as I thought it would. So having a focus on player speed is good. And yeah, like, already at this point I'm doing far better than I did in my previous run. I think at this point I was probably around an hour and a half in, and here it's only been 53 minutes. And if I really wanted to, if I was feeling really ballsy, I could have gone after the Megabeast as soon as I picked up the Infinite Jump. And assuming I managed to successfully beat it, which probably wouldn't have happened, that's why I elected against doing that, I probably could have theoretically beaten him, a lot of qualifiers there, in like 40 to 50 minutes. And I'm still fairly new at this game. If I were to really practice myself, or just be a more skilled player in general, I could totally see a sub-30 time being possible here. It depends, of course, on what items you get in your run, and how lucky you are to pick up tech scrap. Because you'd obviously want to avoid most enemies, but that means picking up less tech scrap, which means less significant purchases from the merchants, and they tend to have some pretty good stuff for sale. So, as always with these rogue-lite proc-gen games, there is going to be a bit of RNG if you want to speedrun, but it seems like to a lesser extent than most of its ilk. Okay, so where am I gonna go next? I've done everything in the cave, so I guess it's time to head back down into the destroyed city to finish it off. See what last few errand upgrades are there. I definitely could have handled that better. If I had chosen my paths a little bit more wisely, I could have done that on my initial run through, and then I wouldn't have to backtrack here, but alas. Okay, and this is an abject lesson in why we do not just rush into things. I took a lot of damage and I got absolutely nothing for it. I knew I should have just cheesed my way through that room, but I wanted to try and be a little bit more brave. And, well, you saw what bravery got me. I do have that save state, of course, but I really do want to save that for the Megabeast. I'm gonna try and get back up to my vantage point in the upper right. That's the safest place to be, I found. And if I can do that, then I should be able to finish off these enemies without too much trouble. Come on. Okay, I'm safe. Yeah, let's just employ the good old cheese tactics here, while I slowly recover health. There we go. That was a much better way of handling things. Do kind of wish there were less spikes in this room, though. It makes some of the pickups that the enemy drops harder to pick up. Alright, well, let's see what's behind door number 1. Looks like some sort of fixed upgrade room. Nothing too amazing, though. So this also seems to answer one of my questions I had earlier on in this run. It does seem like they always give you enough of the rare tech scrap artifact stuff to make all the purchases you could need. The only way then that you're limited is by the basic tech scrap, which you mostly just get from enemies, and thus is RNG dependent. Alright, here we have a heat room. I'm surprised these meat orbs are able to survive. I would have thought that only certain enemies you would find here, certain heat resistant ones. So it's kind of a shame seeing the same old here. Ah well. Ah, come on, there's even a Spanus here. How can you survive in the heat? I would thought that would just make you an even more puckered, wrinkled butthole. I guess not. Okay, rate of fire. Honestly, my finds here weren't that great. I still have one stat upgrade in that big room, ugh. If I want to have a hope of finding it without dying, I'm gonna have to kill that mini-boss again, which does take a while. I mean, it does give me more tech scrap, but I seem to have maxed out the counter at 99, so it's not like I need that. So this is basically just a time sink at this point. Flamethrower should help, though. Oh yeah, that is efficient. Oh, wait a minute, huh? Okay, my previous assumption was that the laser had its own separate energy meter, but it seems to be blinking up along with my regular one. Why then does it have a different color? That has to be indicative of something, but I don't know what. Yeah, it's being filled up by the energy pickups as well, definitely. What then, speed up, could that different color be indicating? Huh. I honestly have no idea. If I don't figure it out this one, I might actually have to look that up on the Steam discussion forum. I'm sure I'll be able to find an answer. The developer seems pretty active about answering questions, so... Okay, well that's it for the destroyed city. I guess I'll just make a trip back to that one merchant. Yep, that's the only thing left, and then I'll check out the 2 things I can in the first area. That extra optional item might be something good. And then it's time for the Megabeast. Okay, well, I might have just discovered a trick that'll help me tons when I'm fighting the Megabeast. So if you just hold down fire, you rapid fire like this, yeah? At least if you have a bunch of rate of fire upgrades. And it turns out you can just keep doing infinite jumps while firing in a single direction. I thought how it would have worked is that you'd be forced into spinning like this unless you'd fire them in 360 directions. And that would be the downside to that technique. You can fire while constantly evading in the air, but you can't exactly control your shots. But no, you're playing a shoot 'em up at this point. And this'll give me a load more room to move around in while fighting the Megabeast, so this alone, outside of all of the upgrades I picked up, might be the key to succeeding. Okay, so let's see what you're offering, my merchant buddy. And good, I can pick up both of these things. So this seems to be another weapon, Scattergun. I think that's a new one. And the more expensive thing is the Wrecking Shell. Yeah, so I'm guessing that the Wrecking Shell is just a damage upgrade for your weapon, and if you have enough rate of fire upgrades, it doesn't reduce the speed too much. Or maybe it's just reduced projectile speed, because my projectiles might be a... Oh, wait, I think I see. Or maybe not. I thought that one of my shots looked a little bit brighter, like maybe only some of your shots are those wrecking balls, but no, that was just 2 shots overlapping, I think. Yeah, the Wrecking Shell must just be a passive upgrade then. So this is the Scattergun. It's basically a shotgun. I'll have to test it out once I backtrack to the first area and see how damaging it is. I'm not sure whether it will be worth using against the Megabeast or not, and I'd like to find out before actually fighting it. It's good to know these things in advance. Okay, so let's test out that Scattergun. Probably not good to test out against an armored target, but who knows, maybe it pierces. Okay, so like a shotgun, it actually has pretty close spread at close range, but it quickly widens out like all video game shotguns. Actually, let me fire it where it will travel a fair ways. Wow, the Scattergun in this game actually seems to be like a more real-life shotgun than a video game one. Because the spread of pellets actually stays fairly close together, as opposed to immediately fanning out. Which I'm pretty sure is how actual shotguns work. I could be incorrect about that. Alright, well, let's see what that errant item over here is. Okay, well, here we are. Let's see what's hidden. Oh god. Well, first encounter with those Metroid-like enemies, that's not a great sign. Although, interestingly, this is the first time I've seen them on this run, whereas previously they were a fairly common enemy in the Destroyed City. So I guess I should count myself lucky then. So what are you? Shoot orb, an orb that shoots, so you aren't guaranteed... Oh. And I somehow picked up 2 new items, Orb Bot and, according to the achievements, Throw Bot, there we go. The chance to start with a minor item has been unlocked. Oh, I'm continuing to evolve my powers. Yeah, look at all these orbs I got following me. So yeah, you're not guaranteed to get a whole bunch of those toggleable items like this Celestial Charge here, like I did on the previous run. Sometimes you just get a whole bunch of orbs, which honestly I prefer, because you can only have one of those items at once, whereas the orbs you can have as many as your heart could possibly desire, which for me means all of the orbs, infinite orbs. and that's just a massive power boost. So before I go and check out the Megabeastie, let me head all the way back to the start and see if there's anything new there. I doubt it, but you never know. Okay, and the tutorial smith has nothing new to say. That's unfortunate. I was hoping there might be something new here. Okay, off to the Megabeast. Oh, and can I just say, a fixed teleporter would really come in handy here. Just saying. Oh, hey, so, you know that trick I did where I would just continue to shoot while using the Affinijump, and it basically turned out to be a shooter? That works when I'm in the Arachnomorph mode, and my overall momentum and movement speed isn't any worse, but my hitbox is considerably smaller. So to that one commenter who said that shooting while in Arachnomorph mode would be purely a detriment, well now, smug silence. No, but for real, this looks like it could be really useful, and it might be the secret to actually doing well against the Megabeast. It makes me wonder if you could have a run where you don't pick up the Arachnomorph then. I'm trying to think if I've had one where that's been the case. There might have been an early run where that was, but for all I know it might have just been available later. Okay, so we are close to the Megabeast. I don't exactly have a map of the boss, but it should still show the boss icon, I'm pretty sure, once I get close to it. Not to mention it's in a big room anyway, so that should be pretty obvious. Yeah, it's right there. I'm going to farm up health for a little bit here. Maybe wasting energy doing so, but I want to make sure I'm filled out with all my meters. So, considering everything I have the Celestial Charge, so if I need a bit of Mercy Invincibility at a moment's notice, I have that. Assuming I have energy left. I have my Flamethrower, which will be useful at close range. I have the Laser, which just seems to be kind of stupidly powerful. Yeah, it does not seem to have a limit on its range, and I still haven't figured out what the actual drawback is, nor what the fact that its meter is green means. Maybe, I don't know, maybe if I run out of ammo it breaks? And then I have the Scattergun, which could be useful just for peppering a whole bunch of enemies from afar. Alright, the key here is going to be making use of the spam, which I just realized is actually going to be of minimal help during the Megabeast fight. Because for the most part, I have to fire directly upward, which I cannot do with that trick. So maybe I should stay in regular mode then, so I can switch between doing this and actually firing up. Still though, this trick should come in handy. Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt, but here we go. And that's interesting. This is a different configuration of parts on the Megabeast. It used to have a big old mouth on this side, but now it's a triplet of weird pod things. So the configuration of parts of the Megabeast, and thus exactly what you have to deal with during the fight because they each seem to do their own distinct thing, varies from run to run. That's pretty cool. It's also possible that it might change if I end up dying and respawning, but hopefully I won't figure that out. Hopefully this ends up being the only attempt that I actually need. Right, so it's the mouths that unleash these mini-bosses, so they're what... having a hard time speaking, coherently. They are what I should focus on first and foremost. Okay, that's one done. So let's go in a row here, I think. There's probably one more mouth on the other side. Okay, that would have been a good chance to take out the Flamethrower, I realize. Kind of wish I didn't have so many guns. That's actually making this a little bit more difficult. Keeping in mind exactly which gun I'm on and which one I'm going to switch to if I press one of the shoulder buttons. Yeah, this may end up screwing me, but I'm going to continue with the strategy I did in my first attempt. And just go slowly from left to right. Perhaps not the best idea if these enemies keep spawning, though. I'm not sure what's spawning these little chases. Maybe it spawned a Spanus? Maybe make use of the laser just to clear out a whole bunch of stuff. Nope, I don't want to spin. Screw you. This is what I'm trying to do. Ah, that's the limit. So the laser is stopped in its tracks as soon as it starts hitting an enemy. That's the limiting issue. So I think I might just focus on my regular gun since that overall seems to be the best. It has the least number of complications. Trying to make use of that trick, which I just realized I can aim diagonally upwards, so that trick does come in handy. Oh yeah, this gives me so much more movement capability. Unfortunately, I have done poorly enough here that I might not survive this attempt. Depends on how long I can go without taking any more damage, which is not long at all, it seems. Yeah, the chaos in this fight just ramps up, so unless you're constantly taking out enemies very efficiently, you're gonna end up being overwhelmed very quickly. At least I have that save station to back me up, though. And I am getting health occasionally from my health orb, so if I lane things out and avoid taking damage, I might be able to refill my health bar, while occasionally destroying one of its pots. I don't have that vomit laser to deal with this time. Maybe it can only summon specific bosses depending on its pot configuration. So that helps a bunch. Alright, that's another thing done. Should probably take out this big thing in the center. I haven't seen it do anything yet, but it probably does something nasty. Alright, gonna hold back for a second and just farm up some health. That seems to be the best thing to do when I'm low. And since I don't have to deal with that screen-reaching vomit laser, I don't have anything to worry about in terms of taking damage. Unless I don't pay attention and end up forcing myself into the Megabeast, in which case I immediately die. That probably should have been obvious, but even if I thought I would take damage, I never would have thought that I would have died immediately like that. Maybe that's just because I was at such low health. Okay, well, that was looking like a pretty successful attempt too, so that is a rather big shame. Hopefully the pot configuration is identical, since I seem to have a quite favorable one there. If it changes, I might have a much rougher second attempt, but we'll see. Okay, so one thing. In regards to that Wrecking Ball upgrade, yeah, I finally figured out what it is. One of my initial guesses that I thought was incorrect turned out to be correct. Basically, with that, every shot you fire, it has a chance to be a Wrecking Ball, which is brighter, more powerful, but also slower. I don't know if it's a random chance or if it's one every number of shots, but it's definitely rare enough to not be a huge help. I'm sure, though, that a Wrecking Ball in the right time, in the right place, could probably help me tons. Maybe even against this Megabeastie here. Alright, let's fight it for the second time. It's a different configuration, that's not good. Okay, well, hopefully I can deal with this one. It looks similar to that first attempt I had, which worries me because that was one I had a lot of trouble with, but let's see. If it is the same, there should be a mouth on the other side that is also spawning enemies, so maybe before the chaos ramps up, once I've destroyed that one, I should just head over to the right and deal with whatever pot is spawning these vomiters, because they are far and away the greatest threat I have. Yep, there is in fact a face on the other side. So let's deal with that boy, and that should give me a much easier time, since it was the lack of vomiters in the previous attempt that was the reason I had such a fairly easy time. I probably would have won that if I hadn't been an idiot and literally jumped into the Megabeast like I did right there. I think it's because I end up picking up so much height so quickly with the infinite jump that I just lose track of where I am. So that's something I really gotta work on. Just don't jump as often and I'll be fine. Okay, well that's the mini-boss spawn is dealt with. There's something spawning these little gremlins. I don't know what that is though, so I'm just gonna go in a row. And as long as I can avoid taking damage for the most part and pick up health where it's available, I should be able to do it. Okay, something is still spawning these boys. That's not great. It might be that mouth that's a bit over to the left. It would make sense since it's a mouth with some eyes, which does describe that enemy. Assuming there's any visual resemblance between these spawners and what it spawns. So let me try and deal with that mouth. Also, if I'm focusing on it, I'll be able to see if it does indeed spawn. Yep, it does spawn one of those. So let me just deal with this one so I don't accidentally get hit by the vomit laser, which I did anyway, so that was pointless. But hopefully I'll be able to get rid of that mouth before it spawns another. And there we go, okay. That is chaos most effectively reduced, I think. Now I just gotta deal with the bits that are spawning projectiles. Maybe get rid of that eye with its ridiculous spread shot that is seeming to cause me so much trouble. I am getting health quite often. I'm not sure how many of those are lucky pickups from enemies and how much are generated by my health orb. I'm guessing a fair few are from the health orb, considering how many I've gotten in these 2 attempts, compared to that initial one I had where I didn't have the health orb. Okay, I've gotten a fair way through this Meat Boy's health. Hopefully he doesn't turn into a Super Meat Boy when I get it down to 0, though I get the feeling that that's not exactly out of the cards. Got a lot of those flying guys to deal with those small ones. Maybe I can take care of whatever's spawning that. It's not that little group of pods, that's what's spawning these slow chases. Okay, it's the big thing in the center that spawns these. Honestly though, as long as I stay far enough away, they don't seem to have the ability to hit me, so I would actually say the big thing in the center is probably the least important target. Assuming it doesn't get some sort of super abilities at some point, maybe that's the primary bit, and as I take out the secondary bits, it'll end up getting stronger. It's only my 3rd attempt, so there's still a lot that I don't really know about this fight. But I might be able to beat it anyway. On the off chance it does have a second phase, let's stay back, be a bit lame, and grind up some health first. I'd like to be ideally at full health before proceeding to the second phase. I want the largest possible buffer. Alright, I am slowly picking up health. This is a very lame way to do things, I realize, but it's working for me, so I don't see a reason to stop. Plus, I am still able to strike that big center mouth, and that's the Megabeast. It's gonna have a second phase. Or not. That might be it.
Gore rains down as the surface of the Megabeast ruptures and spills forth. It can bleed, so perhaps it can die. It is now believed the creature was summoned by the post-human dregs that remain beneath the surface. The pitiful mole men. These creatures have crippled, if not destroyed, robot civilization by summoning this monstrosity back from beyond the stars. But with the wounds inflicted by a robot named Fight, with this tiny victory comes hope for survival. The survival of robot-kind. More robots must don the name Fight. They must challenge the beast again and again until they bore into its heart and undo its curse.
Okay. We credits. In memory of Dolores Hilliard, my grandmother. Aw. Okay, so a few things I realized. One, the Megabeast is basically Shub-Niggurath from Lovecraft lore, albeit with a less racist name. You know, being an elder god made of massive meat that just spawns forth thousands and thousands of young. That describes both of those perfectly. Two, I'm intrigued by the fact that they say that more dawns will have to continue to don the name Fight and continue fighting the Megabeast until they strike down its heart. Given the fact that I still have upgrades that I've unlocked for future runs, I can't help but wonder if that Megabeastie there was only the first phase of the true final boss, if we really will have a Contra situation where if, say, I proceed through and win another run, I'll be able to enter the beast and try and strike down its heart.